Yo, what's up? It's good to see you again. So this setup is amazing for live improv, which has been a goal of mine this year, to build a super fun, flexible rig that allows me to just have fun while playing, right? And this setup is almost it, except for one small thing that's such a bummer. But I mean, come on, like listen to how cool this setup could be, right? We got a couple things going. We got the Avalon here. All right, open that up. I can throw some chords in here. Let's do, and by chords I mean a lead line. Take the kick out. And then mute the synth part, of course, right? We're improving. Little build up, got some vocals. Okay, so you might not have noticed it, as most issues arise during a live set. Nobody cares, nobody notices, nobody has any idea what the hell you're doing up there. Doesn't matter, just play it off, it's gonna be fine. But this issue has to do with the routing and some of the notes that are flying around. So let me break down this setup, then the issue itself will make a lot more sense, and you might have a solution for me, which I might not be thinking of, which would be awesome, or it's probably a lost cause and we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and play as is. Okay, so it all starts here on the octatrack, right? This is our primary clock and everything else follows. Clock out of here is going into circuit tracks. Circuit tracks is sending just MIDI data into the Avalon Bassline, no clock information, because I want to use circuit tracks as sequencer instead of the Avalon's sequencer. Now, when it comes to audio, audio from circuit tracks is coming into AB, that's coming in on track 1. Audio from the Avalon's coming into C, and that's coming in on track 2 as through track. So I can process and apply some cool effects to everything, right? We'll go ahead and mute the vocals. We'll mute the chords here. So this, we're just listening to circuit tracks and the Avalon, right? There's just the kick, track 1, circuit, track 2, Avalon. Easy, we get it. We got some tracks here set up for live looping as a backup. That's not the goal of this setup, so I'm not even gonna dive into the live looping side of things. So what's the issue, Rick? Well, check this out. Tracks is now playing the Avalon. These notes are being sent to the Avalon. Look at that. Our accent is being triggered with every single step. Now, I don't know who's to blame here. I don't know the fix, but let me run you through some scenarios. Basically what's happening is that the Avalon Bassline is set up in MIDI mode, and this works in any of its modes, but when it receives MIDI information and the velocity of that note value is above 64, it's going to trigger the accent. If it's below 63, it's not going to trigger the accent. So what's the fix? I have to go into every single step and put it below halfway, in the middle of me performing. That's okay, right? Kind of. It's a little bit of a bummer, but of course, if I add in any other notes, let's say, and I tried to play that soft, but you can already see, look, it's jumping back and forth now between those two, and there is a discernible difference between the two. Now, thankfully, the most important thing to me is having access to the envelope mod, and this accent, when triggered, actually still triggers the filter envelope mod, but it also triggers this accent increased volume and a little bit of like an increased VCA decay. You can kind of hear it here. You can hear it kind of pops a little louder and a little harder. That's again, one of my favorite features about the Avalon is that all the knobs kind of play off of one another, right? If I turn up tracking, you can hear like a new pattern arise, turn resonance down or cutoff down. If I open this up, close this down, everything kind of moves in conjunction with one another. So, all right, well, here's a solution. Just don't use the accent. It's a little bit of a bummer though, because I like using the accent when it comes to creating new kind of moving, rhythmic little elements, right? So, I guess, like, listen to that, that's cool. But I can't do something like that if this pattern wasn't here and we just had a kick and I just go, let's say, look, every single note's triggering that. So then I have to go in here and move this lower. And that's cool. Maybe this will just be me performing live, right? Is it a deal breaker? No, it's not. Is it a bit of a nuisance? Sure, it can be if we want to look at it that way. Now, what are some fixes? I wish that the Avalon had an adjustable range, and I wish it wasn't just halfway for its velocity. I wish you could say maybe anything past 120 trigger the accent, not just halfway, because that's pretty hard to hit with velocity sensitive pads. And sure, Circuit Tracks does have a fixed velocity mode, but you can't change what value the fixed velocity is on Circuit Tracks. I wish you could, but you can't. But one thing that the Avalon does have going for it, which is actually really, really cool, is that I can still trigger the modulation envelope using the lowest note possible. Right now I'm in a scale to match what my chords are going. If I go all the way down in octave, this is gonna be that. You can see when I hit this, it turns it on. So thankfully, Circuit Tracks does have a polyphonic MIDI sequencer. And if I press play, let me open these up again. If I wanted this to trigger that modulation envelope, I just put that note on top of that other note. It's not gonna make it slide, but it will trigger this. So if this is down, I can go ahead and open this up. There it is. Maybe give it a little more decay. Right, so there is some fun to be had here. Sure, there's a little bit of bouncing back and forth between this, and I can kind of have fun and play with this. And like I said, if you're on stage and some weird stuff starts happening, just play it off. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody has any idea what's going on. But in a nutshell, that's the one issue that I have with the setup, and I've had with this setup since I started using this back in like 2018 or 2019, I think is when I started pulling this little mini setup out, right? I mean, links down below to the super old school videos if you want to see a completely different rig with glasses and everything. But this setup is still extremely fun, extremely playable. So let me kind of take you through the idea behind moving from one song to another and how I'm going to improv when it comes to this setup. So pressing play here, sure, we got some drums already in here. I'm going to have drums to start off. I'm not just going to press play and have nothing go from the very beginning. If you want me to, whoa, look at that. Added them in. Okay, now we're improving, right? We got our bass line, and I'm gonna hit these two to get back to middle. Okay, so this slides. I don't want that to happen. Easy to fix, right? Turn our tracking up. Maybe I wanna do a little accenting note here. Open this up a little bit. And now this envelope decay has nothing to do with anything now because it's only listening to the accented decay. And I'll lower down our accent so it's not going too crazy. All right, sweet, we're here. Now we got some synths, which are already in here, that's fine. We'll go ahead and clear those out, unmute them. Dramatic effect, take the kick out. All right, that's back in. Now, our chords. I know that this chord is in E minor. Bring the level down, unmute it. I have a trigger here at the beginning of this whole entire 4-bar sequence, and I know that this sample is 4 bars. So again, dramatic effect, take the kick out, start fading this up. Lower this up. Now we go to drum 3, go to the bottom where I have some percussion stuff. Bring that up. Volume. Open up the decay on that. Now, if I go back to the top, I know that these are closed hats here. Let's do. That's fine. Lower that volume down a little bit. Go to our reverb, send that off, simply clap. Now let's transition to another song, right? We'll start bringing down synth 2. Mute it, mute our kick. Now this chord sample here, I'm gonna filter it down. Bring our kick back in. Now that this is filtered down, just lower the volume completely on this track. With that down, I'm gonna go and load up another sample. We'll go here. This is in G. There's a big old G on there. And again, it's already triggered, it's already playing, but our level is down. If I go to scales, I can jump this entire track up or down in scale. So for example, if synth 2 was playing and synth 2's filter was up, we can then go to scales here, and I know I need to get to G, so I'm going to take us down to C just for a little bit, just for fun. Open up our open hat, give us a little bit of energy, go crazy on the Avalon. Awesome. Dramatic effect. Now, I need to get us to G, which is the 5th of C, which is right here. So here we go. Now, this is playing weird, right? All right, people are like, whoa, what's up with this spooky music? Now, I can fade this up like this and start bringing this in. Oh, that works. Lower the Avalon, let this really shine out, right? Just get that bass in there. Now, I'm gonna try and do this easily. We'll go here, unmute these. Make it a little more staccato on drum 4, which is our open hat. Drum 3. Synth 2, lower our filter. Now we're in it to win it. Boom, next track here. And if you really wanted, take the kick out, pick a new one, of course silently using shift, and then bring it in. There we go. Now we're bumping at this, right? I kind of like the one that we're at. That works. Check this out. Now for our vocals, I have a vocal loaded up, and I can load up a bunch here. I have this one here called Kathy Brown. If I look at our AED, I can jump around in this sample and just look for stuff that might work. Like whatever this is here, I don't know what it is, but it's gonna go, I can kind of visualize how it's gonna sound. Make sure our track level's all the way down, unmute it, check our filter, make sure we're all good to go, and let's build it up. Now bring it in. Dope. I'm down with this. Go back to our bass line here. We'll say settings. We'll get weird. We'll make it 12 steps. All those kicks, you won't even realize what just happened, but our bass line's now in 12 steps. And if we want it, we'll go here, go to our patterns, clear out MIDI 1, which is the Avalon. Think of a new bass line. That's cool. Now let's try and do this. There it is. So I went from 2 bars to 1 bar, unmuted the kick. And same thing. We'll go here, fade this up, and away. In it to win it, baby. We can even bring in our synth 2. And because we're in key, it works. I can even say, all right, oscillator 1. Let's make sure we have nothing on pattern for synth 1. All right, This is all the way down, unmuted. Dramatic effect. I don't like this one here. There it is. Delay. Bring that back in. Just for a little bit, right? Same thing here. Watch this. Here we go. Lower that release. Go to your AED. Jump it a little bit. Easy peasy. Dramatic effect. Too fun, right? Again, this is awesome. I got my chords, I got my samples, I got some audio processing here so I can go wild with it. I got my drums here. Do my little kick drums. Go a little old school with it. Make a little halftime, right? Throw some reverb right there on the clap. Open up our, maybe pitch it down. We got some synth stuff. We can have some wild fun with this, right? This pattern's a little old now. All right, play it off. This is fine. This is not what I meant to do, but I'll clear that out. Go to our gate, make sure that's just 8 and 8. Right, synth, we got some MIDI sequencing, got the Avalon going. Throwing some more notes in there. You can see what's happening, right? There's too many notes happening here. Maybe I want that to slide. I'll open up the gate on this to at least 4 steps. Open up the gate on this. That's fine. MIDI 1, drop that down an octave. Whoa. Reverb down. Easy peasy, my friends. Bring the kick back in. Boom. In it to win it. That's it. Doesn't have to be that complicated, but hey, maybe there's a workaround with this weird velocity thing and the accents happening. You can clearly see I completely forgot about that issue once I started going and once I started having a great time. So now it's your turn to go have a great time. Go make some dope music that you can be proud of. And yeah, appreciate you, my friend. Until next week, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.